Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Neema Chand and this is my third lecture in the spectroscopic series. Here we are continuing with the IR spectroscopy and we will learn about the absorption bands in the IR spectra. Hopefully by the end of this lecture, you will understand how the position, the intensity or the structure of the absorption bands is determined. So this lecture is very important if you want to learn in how to interpret the IR spectra. This is for postgraduate students as well as for research scholars who are starting up with this technique. So let us begin. The entire IR region of the spectrum is divided into three regions which are named as the near infrared, the middle infrared and the far infrared. It is the middle infrared region that is used in IR spectroscopy and it includes wavelengths ranging from 2.5 to 5 micrometers. Now, the energy of radiation can be connected or related to the frequency of radiation by the equation that is given by Planck. It says energy equals to h into V. Here h is the Planck's constant and its value is 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 joules per second. Okay? And the frequency can be converted into wavelengths because frequency equals to speed of light upon wavelength. Then the energy of radiations become inversely related to the wavelength of radiation. Instead of wavelengths, we have another parameter that is very useful in IR spectroscopy, and that is called the wave number. Wave number is simply the inverse of wavelengths. And when we convert the range of wavelength into wave number, we have 1 upon 2.5 to 1 upon 5 micrometers. Converting this into centimeters, we just have to multiply it by the power of 8 and it becomes 400 to 4000 per centimeter. So the range of wave numbers included in IR spectroscopy are 400 to 4000 per centimeter. Okay. In an IR spectrum, this is the range that is included, and this range can again be divided into two regions. The first, starting from 4000 up to 1500 per centimeter, is called as the functional group region. It is this region that represents the stretching vibrations of the functional groups that are present in the molecule. Then below 1500 per centimeter is termed as the fingerprint region. Fingerprint region includes the bending vibrations of the covalently bonded atoms in the molecule. It is the fingerprint region that is characteristic of the molecule and therefore it is given this name as the fingerprint because fingerprint is unique for every person. So basically when we study an IR spectra, it is these two regions that help us to determine the groups or the types of bonds present in a molecule. Now let us understand how we assign the position of the IR absorption bands in the IR spectrum. For that, it is useful to compare a vibrating bond to the physical model of the vibrating spring system. Now the spring system is best described by the Hooke's law. Hooke's law is represented by this mathematical equation where V is the frequency of vibration and it is directly proportional to the force constant and inversely proportional to the reduced mass. Here, the vibrating bond is attached to two atoms with masses m1 and m2. And the equation represents the change in the frequency of vibration as the other physical properties of the system changes. So according to Hooke's law, the frequency of vibration is directly proportional to the force constant. Now what is a force constant? Force constant is the measure of the strength of this covalent bond. Okay, so stronger the bond, greater will be the value of force constant and more frequency will be required in order to stretch it. This is the conclusion of the Hooke's law. Okay. Second, frequency of vibration is inversely proportional to the reduced mass. Now reduced mass can be calculated on the basis of the masses of the two atoms. So obviously it is directly proportional to the masses. More masses of the atoms, more will be the reduced mass. And since reduced mass is inversely proportional to the frequency of vibration, lesser will be the frequency of vibration. So this is the Hooke's law that tells us how the frequency of vibration, or what is the frequency of vibration required to stretch that particular bond. Now, applying this Hooke's law in IR spectroscopy, we draw the following conclusions. First is, stronger bonds absorb at higher frequencies. I've already told you that stronger strength of bonds means higher force constant value and higher will be the frequency of radiation. This means that the absorption bands appear at higher wave number. Okay, so absorption bands of stronger bonds appear at higher frequency and higher wave number. On the other hand, absorption bands of weaker bonds appear at lower frequencies and lower wave numbers. Bonds between lighter atoms absorb at higher frequencies. That is, when the atoms with regard are lighter or less in weight, then the absorption bands of those atoms appear at higher wave number. So lighter elements at higher wave number and heavier elements at lower wave number. So this is how the position of the absorption bands appears in the IR spectra. Now let us take some example to understand the Hooke's law better. Triple bonds have highest strength compared to double bonds, and single bonds are lowest strength compared to double bonds. Okay, so the larger the force constant, higher would be the frequency of absorption required to stretch that bond. Therefore, triple bonds appear at higher wave numbers and single bonds appear at lowest wave numbers. Second, when we see it in regard to masses and we compare, then hydrogen, the mass of hydrogen is less compared to the mass of deuterium. That in turn is less compared to the mass of carbon. Okay, so obviously carbon hydrogen bond appears at higher wave number and carbon deuterium bond appears at lower wave number. But carbon carbon bond, because the masses of both the atoms is highest, appears at lowest wave number when we look at the IR spectra. So this is the conclusion of Hooke's law, and this is how we can apply it to when we compare the frequency of vibration of different molecules. Moving now, next we come to the intensity of absorption bands. The intensity of absorption bands depend upon the change in the dipole moment associated with the vibrating bond. Greater the change in the dipole moment, more intense is the absorption bands. Now, what is the dipole moment? Dipole moment by definition is the product of the charge on either of the atoms with the difference between the charges. So dipole moment is related to the electronegativity difference between the atoms. Greater the electronegativity difference, more will be the charge on the atoms and more will be the change in the dipole moment. Now, according to the values enlisted in this table, let us predict the intensity of signals. When we have three signals, that is OH, NH and CH. Now the electronegativity difference between oxygen and hydrogen is more, and the electronegativity difference of carbon and hydrogen is least. So obviously the change in the dipole moment when the OH bond vibrates is more compared to the change in the dipole moment when NH bond vibrates. So since the polarity order of these bonds is decreasing in the order of OH, NH and CH, the intensity of absorption of OH bond is more as compared to the intensity of absorption band of NH, and the intensity of absorption bands of CH bond is least because it is the least polar molecule. So now you understand, you just need to know the electronegativity values. You need to see what is the electron change in the electronegativity value. That is directly related to the change in the dipole moment, and greater the electronegativity difference, more intense will be the absorption bands. Okay. Now the intensity of an absorption band also depends upon the number of bonds that are responsible for producing that signal. For example, we have methane and octane. The number of carbon-hydrogen bonds in octane is much more as compared to the number of carbon-hydrogen bonds in methane. So the signal of octane molecule is more intense as compared to the signal produced by methane molecule. So the intensity depends upon the number of bonds that are responsible for producing that signal. Okay. Then we have concentration. Now concentration of the sample also has a direct effect on the intensity of absorption bands. More concentrated samples means more molecules are generating that signal, and less concentration means there are less molecules present in the sample. So concentrated samples have greater number of absorbing molecules and therefore they produce more intense signals. So when we understand the intensity of absorption bands, we have to take into regard three considerations. First is the dipole moment. Second is the number of bonds that are producing the signal. And third is the concentration of the sample. Okay. By taking care of all these three factors, we can determine which a molecule will produce more intense signals and whose signals will be less intense. Okay. Now we come to the shape of the absorption bands. We know that in an IR spectra, the nitrogen-hydrogen bond, the oxygen-hydrogen bond, and the carbon-hydrogen bond, they all appear in the functional group region, and all three of them give absorption bands around 3000 to 3500 per centimeter. So since the position of the absorption bands is almost same in all these three cases, it is the shape of these absorption bands that help us to differentiate between these three bonds. So now look at all these three graphs. These are the IR spectra that represent the OH stretch, the NH stretch, and the CH stretch. See, it's very clear that the OH stretch, the absorption band is broad. You see the shape of NH stretch is still narrower, and the peak or the absorption band obtained for CH stretch is even more narrow than NH stretch. So when we compare all these three bonds, when you look at them together, you can make out that it is the shape that will help us differentiate between these three bonds. Okay. So when the position of the absorption band is not clear, is almost same, then we move on to the shape of the absorption bands that help us to differentiate between the molecules that are present in the sample. Okay. Now in IR spectroscopy, the vibrational frequencies calculated by the Hooke's law are not always equal to their experimental values. The difference in the values arise because of the influence of the structural environment of that bond. So now we look into some of the factors that bring about a change in the theoretical and experimental values of the vibrational frequencies. The first factor in that regard are the coupled vibrations. Now when we are considering an isolated CH molecule, there is only one CH bond and therefore it produces only one absorption band that appears at around 3000 per centimeter. Okay? But when we consider a methylene molecule has two hydrogen atoms and therefore two CH bonds. Both these hydrogen bonds vibrate in different directions and it gives two types of vibrations. One is asymmetric stretching like this and one is symmetric stretching. If you want to learn more about the types of vibrations, I have completed that in my first lecture. You can just see it before we move forward with this lecture. Okay. So in methylene molecule, there are two vibrations taking place and these vibrations are called as coupled vibrations. Okay. And both these vibrations appear at different wave numbers. Asymmetric vibration always appears at a higher wave number and symmetric vibration always appears at a lower wave number. So when we consider the case of methylene group, even though both the bonds are same, you see there are two CH bonds. So one would expect that both these CH bonds would produce absorption bands at the same wave number, but that doesn't happen. Both these stretching vibrations produce two different absorption bands and these absorption bands appear at different wave numbers. Asymmetric vibration appears at higher wave number and symmetric vibration appears at lower wave number. Okay, so this is the case of coupled vibrations where the one absorption band actually appears one above and one below the actual wave number. Okay. Another example to understand the occurrence of coupled vibrations are the acid anhydrides. Now, acid anhydrides are formed when two molecules of carboxylic acids combine and they release a water molecule. The remaining product is that of acid anhydride, and it consists of two carbonyl groups. These two carbonyl groups in an acid anhydride molecule also show two types of stretching. One is symmetric, where both oxygen atoms move in one direction, and other is asymmetric, when they move in different directions. Okay, so these two vibrations produce two absorption bands at different wave numbers. Again, I will repeat that asymmetric vibration produces an absorption band at higher wave number, and symmetric vibration produces the absorption band at lower wave number. So in acid anhydrides, instead of two absorption bands at one wave number, we have two absorption bands at different wave numbers. One falls between around 1800 and the other around 1790. Okay, this is another example of coupled vibrations. Now the second factor that affects the vibrational frequency of a bond is called as the Fermi resonance. Fermi resonance is a kind of a coupled vibration where a fundamental band couples with an overtone band or a combination band. Okay? To understand this, let me tell you what is a fundamental band. In IR spectroscopy, the fundamental frequency of vibration occurs when there is transmission from ground state to the first excited state. Okay? But sometimes the transmission also takes place from ground state to the second excited state, and they miss out on the first excited state. That transmission is called as the first overtone. Okay, and similarly, when the transmission is from ground state to the third excited state, it is called as the second overtone. And the absorption bands that are produced or that appear in the IR spectra are called as the overtone band. So when the fundamental vibration couples with an overtone band, how that happens is both these bands have similar frequencies. So they sort of resonate and exchange energy, and they form two bands which are quite close to each other on account of wave numbers. See, in this graph I have shown you there is an overtone band and then there is a fundamental band of carbonyl group. Okay, the position is quite similar. Now the two vibrational modes have close vibrational frequencies, that is the overtone band and the fundamental band have almost similar frequencies, and therefore they resonate and exchange energies, giving rise to a shift in the absorption bands. Now Fermi resonance does not lead to additional bands in the spectrum. Instead, it just shifts the original absorption band to a different wave number. In this example, we see the CH stretch that takes place as a doublet, and it is caused due to the interaction between CH stretch and the overtone of CH stretch. One is the fundamental band that will be produced by the CH stretch, and the other will be the overtone band that is produced by the stretching of the CH. You can see they are quite close by and they appear as a doublet. Okay. Okay, now the presence of atoms or different types of groups in a molecule also affects the absorption frequency of that particular bond. These come under the electronic effects. Now in this we will study two types of electronic effects. One is the induction effect and other the mesomeric effect. To understand both these effects, we will take into consideration the example of carbonyl group. In chemistry, we are already familiar that when carbon is double bonded with oxygen, it is termed as the carbonyl group. And because of the large electronegativity difference between oxygen and carbon, the stretching of this bond is associated with a large dipole change. So large dipole change, as I have already told you, produces more intense absorption peaks. Oxygen here is more electronegative and carbon is less. So oxygen develops a partial negative charge and carbon develops a partial positive charge. Now the carbonyl stretching peaks generally fall between 1900 to 1600 per centimeter. I mean, this is the point or the wave number at which we can observe the stretching, the absorption bands of carbonyl stretch. First, we will look into the inductive effect. Now, what is an inductive effect? Inductive effect in chemistry is the transmission of unequal sharing of bonded electrons through the atoms of that molecule. Okay? Inductive effects can be of two types. You can see in this diagram, when the atom attached to the carbonyl group attracts the electron towards itself, it is called as minus I effect. Okay? And when the atom is less electronegative than carbon, then it is called as plus I effect. Now the following groups show minus I effect and plus S effect. So according to the particular group that is present in the molecule, we can know whether it will show minus I effect or it will show plus I effect. Now plus I effect. The presence of electron releasing groups around the carbon oxygen group also increases the bond length and decreases the bond strength. You know, when the length of the bond increases, the strength of the bond decreases. And we have learnt, according to Hooke's law, weaker bonds appear at lower wave number. Okay, they show lower vibrational frequencies. So as a result, the absorption shifts to a lower frequency or lower wave number. So greater the plus I effect, lesser will be the absorption frequency, which we can see in this example. Formaldehyde appears at higher wave number compared to acetaldehyde. See, in acetaldehyde we have methyl group that is electron donating, okay, electron releasing. So it shows plus I effect. As a result, the wave number at which the absorption peak appears also decreases. And where we have two such groups, then the wave number is decreased even further, as we see in case of acetone. Now what is the minus I effect? The opposite of plus I effect. When the electron withdrawing groups are present around the carbonyl group, it increases the bond strength. And according to Hooke's law, when the bond strength is increased, the frequency of vibration also increases. So the absorption bands will appear at higher wave number. We will see as we see in case of these. The acetone has two groups. It has no electron withdrawing group, so it appears at a wave number of 1715. Okay, but when we add an electron withdrawing group, that is an halogen, one chlorine atom, then the wave number is increased. See, as we see in chloroacetone. So by the addition of electron withdrawing groups around the carbonyl atom, the wave number at which the absorption bands appear also increases. I hope it's clear with these examples. Next, we have the mesomeric effect. Now, what is a mesomeric effect? Mesomeric effect in chemistry is defined as the polarity produced in the molecule by the interaction of two pi bonds or between a pi bond and the lone pair of electrons present on adjacent atoms. Okay, this is called as the mesomeric effect. Now, mesomeric effect is also called as the resonance effect. You see here the amide group that is present is causing the mesomeric effect. It has two lone pairs, and the lone pairs and the double bonds are in resonation or they are in conjugation with each other. So the presence of conjugation increases the bond length. This is the point that is to be noted. Where we see conjugation in the systems, it will increase the bond length. Increase in bond length is always associated with a decrease in bond strength. Okay? When bond length increases, the strength of the bond decreases. And according to Hooke's law, when the strength of the bond decreases, the force constant also decreases and the frequency of vibration also decreases. So obviously, the absorption band appears at low wave number. The amide has low carbon oxygen bond and higher frequency than ketone. Okay, because amide causes the mesomeric effect, and in ketone the mesomeric effect is not found, and therefore it appears at higher wave number. So inductive effect can cause both lowering of the wave number as well as increasing the wave number, but mesomeric effect always causes lowering of the wave number. Next, the factor that affects the vibrational frequencies are the hydrogen bonds. Now we know the presence of a hydrogen bond increases the bond length. Now we can know that hydrogen bond is quite similar to mesomeric effect. It increases the bond length, decreasing the bond strength, decreasing the force constant, and thereby decreasing the wave number and the frequency of absorption. Now these are the two cases of hydrogen bonding that we see. A free molecule does not show hydrogen bonding, and see, it appears at a higher wave number. But the molecule that shows hydrogen bonding appears at a lower wave number. Now, according to all the factors that we have studied so far, these are the characteristic absorption peaks or absorption bands that are recorded for IR spectroscopy. And it is these bands that we need to memorize and we need to learn in order to interpret the IR spectra. Okay, I've already told you how the range of wavelengths is assigned to each group. So now you need to do is you have to learn this by heart. Means nothing else can be done other than learning. You know the concepts that work behind it. So these are the wave numbers that are assigned to each group. Like NH stretching, OH stretching and CH stretching, they appear at around same wave numbers. And I already told you that it is the shape of the bands that will help you differentiate between all these absorption bands. Similarly, we have CH stretching, we have CO stretching. I hope you find it easy from all the concepts that we have learned so far. So learn this and I'm sure it will be helpful in solving questions. So that's all for now. This is how we conclude the IR spectroscopy. I'll try to make another video regarding the questions for NET and CSIR. But till then, keep revising, keep studying and stay positive. Take care. Bye-bye.